Hey everybody, welcome to the Market Minute, and we are back. Boy, the market reacted to Joel in a big way, huh? That there was a lot of ups and downs with Earth cards and Ice cards, and just the immense amount of hype surrounding Joel. And I think at least one of these cards are definitely being affected by the release of Joel. But I'm not really going to look in. We're not really going to look at the typical ice card, your channel like Frigids, your Pulse of Eisenhoffs, because those have kind of already went up, they've went down, and inventory is pretty high in those, so movement isn't really going to happen all that much or that quickly. But I did find six cards that I think are super interesting, and it goes back to an old episode that I did where the inventory was just super thin on every card I looked at, and that's what I looked for this episode again. So we're going to look at six of those cards and let's get into it. First one up, Felling of the Crown, very new card, sitting at $49.99 right now. That is crazy. So, sales per day are at 17. This is the card that I mentioned that Joel definitely affected, because you could be seeing it played in that deck, right? And I think, there was some push to grab those cards when that deck was announced. Currently sitting at eight non foils, three rainbow foils on TCG Player, almost completely gone off of TCG Player. So Rosetta, just not, we're a couple weeks out from the release, just not being opened like it was during the release. And just no real strong backfill of those cards yet. So keep an eye on this one. If you have some extras, maybe or this is definitely a time to sell those now, and cash in on that $50. And the next card is Plow Under. Again, I think maybe a little bit of push from Joel, but Florian did okay this week on the ProQuest results. Again, Rosetta maybe just not being opened as much. We're sitting at five non-foils, really thin inventory on TCG Player. So that 31.99, what could not stick around, if two or three more copies get sold, we bump up into that $50 range, just like Felling. 17 rainbow foil at 34, so there's not really much of a disparity there yet. But keep an eye on this card. Again, this is one that if you have extras of it, good time to cash those in, trade those with friends that need them, and get good value on those. All right, now we're going to jump down to a couple outsider cards. If you've been paying attention, um, you'll probably understand the next card I'm going to look at, but premeditate. $24.99, 21 non-foils, 11 rainbow foils on the market right now, sitting at $24.99. You can kind of see the graph there over the last 3 months. It's just been slowly ticking up. Really, I believe the only pressure on this card is Azalea, but she is a meta contender. She is a fan favorite. So she is pushing that card, and we're just taking away further and further away from outsiders. Outsiders is honestly kind of uh, a tough open. If you're opening a box or two at a time, you really have to open it at a large amount to make sure that you even out and you don't miss on those hits, right? Because there are a few hits in the box, right? So I think maybe that's what's causing this to happen, and we just continue to see this tick up. 21 only, that's only 7 play sets for this card. So it was just an interesting find, and I thought it was interesting that the inventory was so low on this one. All right, next card up. Kind of spoiled it a bit there, but Codex of Frailty sitting at $88.40. There were sold prices at $95 for this card last week. And you can see again over the last 3 months, just up and up. Really not a ton of sales. The max sales over the last 3 months is like 10 to 15 a day or a week over a couple days. I think TCG Player, that's how they do that chart. But we're sitting at 9 non-foils and 3 rainbow foils. Rainbow foil sitting at 108. So there is a bit of a separation there, a little bit of premium on that rainbow foil. This card does get pushed by a couple heroes, including New and Azalea herself. riptide a little bit, right? This card definitely has a couple more cards or heroes, sorry, that do push it up. And that fact, I just thought it was interesting that we're down to 3 play sets in the non-foil. Keep an eye on this one. And again, if you have these, it's probably time to move on from them. If you have extra ones, trade up, trade in, do the thing on these. All right, jumping down to another one. This one, I did do this back on the All Mech episode, High Octane. Since I did that episode, James and Brian both mentioned this card by name in their dev talk, saying that this card is probably a little bit too pushed and it's maybe needs to be looked at as a ban in the future if Dash IO becomes too much. And the Dash deck has come out as of today. So we are seeing this card pop up currently at $13, 18 rainbow foil, or I'm sorry, 18 non-foil unlimiteds on TCG Player right now, 28 rainbow foils, $16 for the rainbow foil. So not much premium there, but if Dash does really well this weekend at the ProQuest, I could see a push on this card to get for that last weekend of ProQuest. We'll see where it pans out. I think this is really low for a first cycle set. The unlimited sets were printed pretty heavily. Again, Arcane Rising seemed like the first one to kind of disappear from store shelves if you were paying attention a couple year and a half ago. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But LSS is looking at it, and it could be in for a restricted list or a ban list in CC in the near future. So keep an eye on that. And the next card here is Weakest Link, sitting at $62.99. Rainbow Foil sitting at $65.95. This one really just fits a theme again of this episode. Just looking at these really low inventory, just over 3 play sets non-foil on TCG Play right now. That spells this card popping off. You could see it into the 70s, into the 80s. It could really join its brother and at 2 for 6's CNC quite quickly. Now, does that price stick? Not really sure on that one, but it's worth watching. And I think this is, again, in Flesh and Blood, when the inventory gets low, that's when prices jump. And sometimes they stick, right? And if they do, that's the new price set, and then we move forward from there. But we are getting further away from Mistveil, so it'll be interesting to see how this card fills back into the into inventory on TCG Player. Like I've said previously, you always want to look at the inventory, see how that card's going to move up as cards sell through. And these 6 cards, they're poised to continue to go up if people continue to buy them. So it's worth checking them out. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Peace.